In this video, traders, I want to talk about patterns that fool you. Stick around. Hey traders, warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining me. All right, so patterns that fool traders. What I mean by this, you'll probably know when I start to kind of talk about some of these things. Very often we think we see something and we don't really step back to appreciate what could be developing. So let me give you a classic example that catches out so many intraday traders. Market starts to rally, market pulls back, market's here. What do you see? What do you see there? A lot of traders go double top forming, and they're instantly, because that's what they used to. They used to mean reverse, used to this, they see a double top. And the trouble is, as traders, once we have an idea in our head, it takes a lot of skill and a lot of kind of seasoned market experience to be able to not then look for things that reinforce that idea. So if you say double top, what happens then? Bang, there's your anchor, and now you look for everything to convince yourself that's a double top. But what about this? We're just continuing on. The trend is just starting. Double top. You get the idea. There are so many patterns like this that actually, when you first see them, you've got to be careful how your bias is. Now, some of you might say, let's pull back on the trend, it's going higher. But then what about if it did that? Okay, you need more evidence. The point is that very often one pattern can just change into another like that. And then we kind of make excuses and go, I should have seen this, I should have seen that. But in actual fact, the clarity wasn't there until we needed a bit more evidence. We needed a bit more evidence. All the position of it and the structure was just in the wrong place for us to take that trade. And so very often we get fooled into thinking, oh, it's turning. And especially on these heavy trend days, which catch out so many intraday traders. We're there, we're looking for reversals. We kind of see this and we go, oh yeah, look, a triple top, it's reversing. Look, it's reversing. And in reality, it's probably just a third leg about to get going. It's probably forming a bit of a fake out of flag and about to do one last blip off. And you're selling into that low thinking it's a 1, 2, 3 reversal type pattern, expecting to come back to some sort of moving average, and it's just flying off. And so the key to kind of not getting fooled by patterns is, we're going to get it wrong, right? We know we're going to get this wrong. I'm not here to say, hey, you're guaranteed to break this if you do all this. This is not the real world. The real world is very, very different. The real world is we're trying to get as many right as we can. If we can get 55, 60, 70% right and get a decent risk reward ratio, that's all we need, right? And so how can we skew that in our favor so that we're not have this lens on that affects the way we look at the market? And so one thing to do is to kind of test yourself and to go through charts and to say, what do I see? What do I see? What do I see? What do I see? And jot down that impulse and then look at the chart after a day or whatever it is and see how it resolves. And see how you have a bias, because we all have a little hidden bias in ourselves, and very often for many traders that's a mean reversion bias, which is okay, but we have to make sure that doesn't cloud the judgment and getting sucked into stuff that's a trending environment and seeing that and going double top, it's got to be double top, shorting it, getting stopped out and seeing it coming down again, saying, oh, it's just a fake out double top, and really reinforcing that narrative that you've got in your mind. And all you do is you're not able to step back, clear through the clutter and go, hey, this could just be a pullback in a trend, Yes, we're extended. Yes, we're already up 500 points, but this is strong. This isn't like it's reversing. We're at mid with this, that, all this evidence. You start to look at it and go, there's no real logical reason for me to go short here. Even if it does fall lower, it's not really part of my playbook. And so, that's the thing that catches people out and fools traders is many of these patterns, they look great, but they're not really resolved until they're resolved. And sometimes that's too late. And so this is the challenge as traders. You go, hey, what's the likelihood? This is where it gets interesting, guys. This is where it gets really interesting. You say to yourself, hey, what's the likelihood of that being a double top there? And you go, well, how can I judge that, Mark? This is when you go back and say, hey, where are we? What's the time of day? What's happened previously? Is it the open? Is it the middle of the day? Did we have a big rally yesterday? Or did we have a big dive yesterday? Have we had a gap? That's the stuff that you add up to give you a little bit more clarity as to whether it's a double top or a continuation. And you don't know, but you're starting to gauge a little bit more of a feel for what's going on. And then you say, okay, hey, you know what? Actually, we had a massive selling down day. We've pulled back just to a really key kind of resistance level from yesterday. That probably more likely to be a double top. Okay, that's fine for me to think that. I've looked at the evidence versus, hey, we held at highs overnight, rallied off the overnight slight gap up, big rally off the open, bit of a pullback. Chances are we've probably got another leg. Might not do massive, but it's probably got another leg. And so when we just look at that little structure there, we can get so fooled into thinking that it's something it's not. But it's when we step back and look at the broader, bigger evidence and the structure of the pattern and the price action, the supply demand, all that other stuff that gives us just a little slither extra edge. And we stay neutral and we observe and we assess, and then we just step back and go, okay, what am I missing here before I suddenly just go with what my instinct says? My instinct's going double top straight away, and then you try to reinforce that, which is not the right thing to do. It's like, okay, that's one pattern. What's the other pattern? What was the other thing it could do? And then when you start to gather all the information and you start to push it, is that positive or negative for this idea, as opposed to reinforce, and just ignoring everything else, then you become a little bit less fooled as often. You don't see something that's not there. And of course you're gonna get stopped out, of course you're gonna get things wrong, but you're not going to be so stubborn and hopefully not going to get caught in kind of monster trend days or mean reversion, constantly trying to buy highs, think it's a pullback, because you look at the evidence, and often the evidence is so obvious when you see it, it's just letting yourself see it. All right, guys, take care. Patterns that fool traders, don't let them fool you. See you later. Bye-bye.